What's going on, YouTube? What's up? This is Rich. I'm gonna drop another video for informational purposes while it's still fresh in my head. Earlier, I got a subscriber who sent me a email asking about what's the best course of action to take to get your CDL, either through Stevens Transport training program or through a state grant that was given to them. My personal opinion about that is you should use the grant. You know, the reason I say that because if things don't work out with you at Stevens, at least when you leave, you don't owe them the money. Now, when I went through training 7 years ago, the total cost of training was $5,000. And when I went to work for Stevens, for the first month or and a half, they took $25 a week out of me. But once I finished training and became a regular driver, and I went to regular fleet, they stopped taking the money from me. I noticed that, and I called them. I was like, you guys are not taking the money. What's going on? So this is what they don't tell you. This is another Stevens Transport doesn't tell you video. So what they do is they use that money as a marker. It reminds me of indentured servitude days where you work off a debt. But if you don't complete all the work, the debt is still valid. Now, let me explain something. My first time with Stevens Transport, I worked there for about 8 months. Now, the contract says you got to be there for at least a year, and now they have contracts that say 2 years. So 8 months, I left. I went to go work for Snyder. Okay, I got tired of Stevens. Okay, I'm going. Next thing I know, I get a phone call from a collection agency somewhere down in Texas. And these people are really grimy. They called me. They were threatening me. They said had a legal action against my CDL. Now, behold to them, I used to work for the government. So I know some things. And I knew what they were doing was kind of illegal and unethical. But Stevens used these little shiesty guys to, scare you to either paying the money or coming back. So I called Stevens Transport and I said, well, hold on. How do I owe you all $5,000 when I worked for you for 8 months? Shouldn't that be prorated? Maybe I owe you two. Maybe I owe you $1,000. But now all $5,000. And the lady on the phone proceeded to explain to me. She said, it's like a marker over your head. She said, we want the whole year of service to wipe the debt away. If not, you owe us. You can be here 11 months and 10 days, and you decide to quit, you owe the whole shebang. Now, these people that they call these debt collectors, they're pretty aggressive. And what they'll do is they'll try to attach it onto your credit. I noticed that somebody did an inquiry on my credit from down from Texas. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? And so, fortunately for me, things at Snyder weren't really working out. It wasn't that Snyder was a bad company or anything, but I wanted to go back over the road. Snyder's more of a regional company. They're not really a truly over-the-road company. Even though they say they're over the road, they're really not. They're just a regional thing. I lived in the East Coast, so they kept me pretty much east of the Mississippi River. And I got kind of bored. I wanted to see the country. Okay? My attitude has changed about it now, but back then I wanted to see the country. So anyway, I went back to Stevens, and I was working for Stevens for like 2-3 months, and they were still calling me, this collection agency. And then finally I called Stevens up to their educational department that handles the loans, and the lady was like, oh, you should have been said something. And she called them, they stopped calling me. They stopped bugging me. Now, I spoke to some people. Some of their student loan programs now are either 2 years of service for $8,000. That's insanity, ain't it? So my whole deal with that is, if I had a choice, I would go with state grant. Now, the thing you got to be careful with state grants is sometimes they want you to go to community college. When I went through training, I remember this guy from Connecticut. He went up to training in Connecticut, and he went to a community college because he used the federal FAFSA forms or whatever to get that training for CDL. It took him 6 months to get his CDL because that's what they had going on at the community college. They actually made him take courses. I'm saying to myself, what, you got a PhD in trucking? I said, it's not that serious. So you want to find a program that does take a grant, but it's 3 weeks. You shouldn't be out. You shouldn't be out here months trying to get your CDL. That's ridiculous. Okay. Now, another question my subscriber sent to me was, how do you balance the work life with over the road trucking and family? Now, I got kids myself. Love my kids to death too. But unfortunately, because you don't have enough experience to go local, you got to pay your dues. You got to be out here at least a year. Okay. Here's another thing that happened to me. When I was at Stephen Transport, my first 3 months, I told you, if you guys listen to my other videos, my training was real long. Like when I was in training, I was there for like 9 to 13 weeks. And so when I got solo, I went home, went to the local trucking company near my house. They had an advertisement in the paper. And I said, man, it looks pretty good. Guaranteed pay, this and that. But they required 1 year's experience. And some companies, sometimes they'll waive that. Like I had a friend of mine who, in training, he went down to the New Orleans port. And the guy gave him a road test right there and hired him on the spot. He's been with them since. Okay? It depends who the guys are. But I went inside the door to the trucking company, and the lady was like, oh, let me see your CDL. Okay, gave her a CDL. How much experience do you have? I got about 3 months experience. Oh, honey, I would like to hire you, but I can't. Why? She said, you're a nice guy and everything. You're good looking. But my insurance won't allow me to hire you with anybody less than a year experience. See, she said, I would love to hire you, but I don't want to lose my company either. You get into an accident. And my insurance dictates that I must have drivers who have over a year experience. This company has just lost their insurance because of you. So they're not going to do that. They're not going to lose their $1 million company because you want a job. So unfortunately, that's where Stevens Transport comes into play. Okay. You got to work there for at least 3 to 6 months or to a year, And once you get your year out the way, these local companies will hire you with a clean license, as long as you got no tickets or accidents. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You start getting the tickets and accidents, that year goes longer. Now, you might have to wait 2 years, 3 years. Do you understand? So, you want to be careful out here. Very delicate. So, anyway, to answer your question, but the guy who asked it, it's hard to balance work life and, that. What I used to do, and what I still do now, I may work 3 weeks, take a week off. Work 3 weeks, take a week off. I try to do that. Maybe in that third week, request to go home, get home in the fourth week. I try to stay home at least a week so I can spend time with my kids and with forth, whatever going on. So, but, I'm at the point now that I have enough experience to go local. But the problem is, where I live at, local jobs really don't pay that well. And see, my fear is I don't want to turn out like JR. If you watch my previous videos, you will know who JR is, okay? He worked his ass 25 years and died broke, okay? That's not cool. You out here, it's cold as hell right now where I'm at, man. I'm up here in Arkansas. It's about, about 28 degrees outside now, Some people might not think that's cold, but that's cold, man. It is, But anyway, I'm about to make another video about Alliance again. And why you should never touch Stephen Transport Alliance program. I don't care how they tell you how good it is. And they're all going to try to push you to do that, okay? Once you get off your trainer's truck, they're going to let you run solo for about 30 days, and then they're going to try to push you into an Alliance program. So stay tuned for next video, and I will explain why you should not touch that. Other than that, take it easy, like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll answer your questions. Peace.